Okay, good morning, everyone. Today is the 13th day of Shvat, and we are going to conclude chapter 23 in the Tanya. We're on page 74 in Chayenu, or whatever printed Tanya you have, or digital Tanya you have. Welcome to join. Okay, in today's lesson, realizing the immense holiness and unity with Hashem, even beyond the supernal realms. When one studies Torah, it should move somebody to realize the incredible opportunity that we have to unite with God through this Torah study. Where's Jack? Hey, Jack. You coming? This discussion of unity with Hashem through Torah study, which we say is even greater than that accomplished by performance of mitzvahs. Even though Torah itself, learning Torah is a mitzvah itself, but it explains why Torah study is so much greater than all the other mitzvahs, including even davening, which davening affects unity within the supernal world. I'm sorry, let me start over. Including even davening, why? Because it affects unity within the supernal world. I think that's what it's saying. Even though the law requires of anyone whose Torah study is not entirely his occupation, that he interrupt for study, for his study for prayer. So, for example, if you get paid to learn Torah, you don't interrupt for anything. But if not, then you have to interrupt in order to pray. As we know the famous story that we read on Pesach night in the Haggadah. My sages, it's time to pray. So this is only because he would in any case pause and interrupt his studies to go about whatever business he had to do. So therefore, if he's going to interrupt anyway, of course he has to interrupt when it comes to prayer. This explanation of the tremendous level that we reach when studying Torah, the wise man will be able to draw upon himself a great sense of awe as he engages in the study of Torah. Takes on a whole new dimension. When a person steps back and considers how his soul, his thoughts, and his speech are found in it, that are found in his brain and mouth, meaning your thoughts are in your brain, obviously, and your speech is in your mouth, and they become perfectly united with Hashem and His will and the infinite light of God, meaning in the soul and its garments when he studies Torah. Wow, a person is just going to be blown away. This is a tremendous level. And he realizes that and he realizes that all the upper worlds and the lower worlds are truly nothing in comparison with it, this Torah study, and are in fact nothing at all. Rather, they only have a minute glow of godliness within them, without them reverting back to nothing. Their main life force, which they receive, is not clothed within them, but it animates from outside of them. Hashem is giving them energy, He's sustaining them. But when a person considers that the very same divine light that's completely beyond the capacity of all the worlds manifests itself openly when he's studying Torah, a person with half a brain will a smart person, I should say, will naturally experience a sense of awe when he studies Torah. So without the study of Torah, we're just getting this little glimmer of light from God, giving us sustenance and ability to exist. But when we learn Torah, we connect to the essence of Hashem. And this is the meaning of the phrase, and Hashem commanded us to fulfill these statutes in order to fear Him. You'll be taken aback. We use the word awe, like you tremble in front of God when you're able to realize the level you could reach when you learn Torah. So according to this pasuk, observing the mitzvahs would appear to be the first step. because it says, the pasuk says, and Hashem commanded us to fulfill these statutes in order to fear God. And this would lead to fearing God. Logically, however, the performance of Hashem's commandments would seem to be as a result of one's fear. You would think that if I don't do this commandment, Hashem will punish me or whatever it might be, and not vice versa. The Alter Rebbe explains something completely different. And by the way, this is the revolutionary view idea, the concept that the Alter Rebbe brings to the table. You think of generally love and fear of Hashem. I love God; He's my Father, and then fear. He may be, the carrot and the stick, right, Chuck? You want to get a reward, but you also don't want to be punished. Alter Rebbe says, no. You're blown away by the greatness of Hashem. You're in awe. You're trembling before the greatness. We're not worried about punishment. That's not what this is all about. And this is what the Alter Rebbe says. Regarding this great fear, our sages say, if there was no wisdom, there's no fear. In this context, wisdom represents Torah study, and fear, quote unquote, the higher level of the awe of Hashem that can be reached only by way of Torah study. When we realize that when we learn Torah, we unite with God, we're blown away. This is unbelievable. This is incredible. We're affecting the higher worlds, the lower worlds, everything around us. Otherwise, all they get is a little sliver of light of God, right? So it's not fear that something bad is going to happen if we don't do it. It's, wow, I can't believe this. You're just awestruck. In relation to this level of fear, awe, the Torah is called a gateway to the dwelling, meaning the sole meaning of entering the dwelling, the higher level of fear, as explained elsewhere. So, Ela lelav, delav, kol, moicha, savil, da, yira, kazu, ach, ma, ach, gaman, dela, savil, moicha, klal, yirazu. Throw some Aramaic in here just to keep you guys on your toes. Lo yimina v'lo miktsasa v'pnei b'chisus erech nafshay b'sharsha mekayra b'madreges tachtoinos the eser spheres ta'asiya ein yirazu ma keves boy l'maise k'meshus bar l'kamon. Not every mind, however, unfortunately, many of us, cannot sustain such a fear. That's why we need the stick, because it gets us into shape. We have a fear, if I miss this, maybe something's going to happen, whatever it might be, And by the way, Jack, it's not that Hashem goes out of his way to punish. What happens when you play with fire? You get burned. What happens if a kid plays with a knife? He'll get cut. What happens if you run around on slippery ice outside? You're probably going to fall and hurt yourself, right? So that's not Hashem punishing us. This is the result of our actions. So a person's mind that cannot bear such a fear, not even a little bit of it, because the root and source of his soul derived from an inferior or lower level, even he would not be deterred from the actual performance of the Torah mitzvahs for want of this fear, as will be explained further. So maybe I'm not completely shocked and awe by HaKadosh Baruch Hu the way I should be if I was on a higher level of a tzaddik. But we could still reach a lower level of this awe, and we don't have to be all fearful of either not doing a mitzvah or doing something wrong or whatever it might be. So the takeaway, Chevra, Yuda, you with me? When it's time to learn, we meditate. That this is the most important thing. When I learn Torah, I am connecting to Hashem's essence, a core at which all worlds and all creations are totally insignificant. It's all about me connecting to HaKadosh Baruch Hu through this Torah learning right now. Chevra, have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there. It's cold today. Stay warm. Might be cold outside, but it's warm in our hearts because we're learning Torah. All right, take care.